What is up, gents? Greatnight dude here. We are back at it with another RTT that we just completed. If you guys clicked on the video, I appreciate it. If you like 40k, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna hopefully start streaming live on Monday nights. Any Saturday, Sunday night games that we got going on, we have to get up to 1,000 subs to start streaming. So I appreciate you clicking on the video. But this was a Shark Tank RTT. Palladium out in Pennsylvania. They invited me to come out and play, so I appreciate the person that ran it, and also Nolan, who runs Thick City. He told me to say that in the video, so if you guys are playing Dark Eldar, run Thick City. But this event was really fun, super competitive, and had a lot of really good players and very friendly players. It wasn't like just assholes or dickheads like playing the game. It was more of like you're playing the best you can against another opponent playing the best he can. Very cool. So we're going to go over the list. We're going to go over the pictures that I took for the tournament. We can't record it, obviously, because it's a tournament. But I'm going to go over kind of like, obviously, like every video is strategic, things I learned, things I would have improved on, and things I messed up on. And also like your comments to let me know in below what you would change, what you liked, what you didn't like. There's a Discord link if you guys want to join that. We post lists, Grey Knights, all that fun stuff. But again, it's a 40k channel, not just Grey Knights, but you'll see a lot of other teams and armies that you guys are obviously going to be competitive playing. So definitely, hopefully you enjoy. So let's go over the list first. This is the list that I used for that tournament. We tweaked it a little bit recently just because Crowe, I love Crowe, probably one of my favorite models in Grey Knights, and he does a lot except to shooting. If you shoot him in the face, like most players do, he doesn't do anything. But if he dies in melee, he's able to fight and kill whoever killed him. So we started off with Rapiers. I love Rapiers. The Brotherhood is very, very good. There's a lot to it, but I'm going to be switching it up in the next tournament to Prescient, which I'll go over at the end. But Rapiers, what they do is they give 1 CP strat, which have exploding 6s. Didn't really pop up as much. I thought I'd roll more 6s than I did, but it's exploding 6s on any one of your Brotherhoods. Then they have a 6 psychic power, which you get an additional attack for every single person in that unit, which was awesome. So your Dreadknights can go up to 6 attacks to get 12 on the sweep. Your Grandmasters can go up to freaking 7 attacks to get 14 on the sweep, which is, never used it, but it's still a cool idea. So yeah, it's definitely a cool Brotherhood. Now we have the Castellan Crowe. He brought Hammer of Righteous, so I did give him his Warlord trait. That gives him +1 to wound in melee. That is ridiculous on Crowe because he's strength 5, so he usually wounds on 3s, but against Marines he'll wound on 2s. Against vehicles, if he wounds on 4s or 5s, now he wounds on 4s. It's a pretty cool strat. And every time he gets a 6, doesn't matter, it's D3 additional mortal wounds. That's because of his Blade of Antwyr. Very good. He's got warp shaping in case we needed to change the tide. He does have Purify Flame already on him. He gets +1 to cast that. So he's our warp shaping change guy. So that's why we brought him. Iron Halo 4+ Anvil and save. Just a beat stick in melee. He gets to attack, and if he's in combat with a character, he fights first, which I forgot about that. And if he dies, even though he attacked, he's still able to fight again. He's got a 6-inch consolidate or heroic intervene, which is huge. Stops people from kind of getting near your troops. And yeah, that's very, very good character. He just doesn't like to be shot at. That's it. So keep him safe, keep him behind people, and then run up and kill whoever you want to kill. Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadknight. We're testing out the theory of running 1 Brotherhood because we don't know what the changes are going to be. Everybody keeps commenting what the changes are going to be. We don't know. I think it's going to be that you can only run 1 Brotherhood, but if it's not, who knows? We'll know in a couple months, weeks, I guess, weeks. So Grandmaster has basically everything on him. Gate of Affinity, Empyric Amplification, Hammer of Righteous as well. So he wounds +1 to wound. Unyielding Anvil, Brotherhood Psychic Power, Dreadfist Teleporter, Exemplar, the Silver Host, Gatling, Psilencer. So he's basically got everything. He's got the Sword, Silencer, Psycannon. He's got the 3++ Invul and save. He's got the Sigil of Exigence, so he can shun away if he's targeted. And that's it. So he's just a super survivability Dreadknight. Can do a lot of stuff. We brought 3 strikes. I always tell you I like silencers in my strikes. They get the extra 6-inch shot, so they shoot 30 inches, -1 AP. They can do 2 damage if you put an Empyric amplification on a unit. So it's just a free gun that shoots really far, -1 AP. On your strike. So I always throw them in there. So there's 1 in each unit. We have 3 units of interceptors. They're all maxed out. They all have halberds. So basically everybody that I could bring a halberd with, they all have halberds. That's the whole list. They don't have any special weapons. And then we brought 3 Dreadknights, all kitted out the same way. We have 2 of them having the teleporters. So in case I need to shunt on turn 1 or get out of combat with 1 CP, you could do that as well. And then we got a maxed out of 2,000 points. Oh, we did bring a Rhino. I'll definitely talk about the Rhino. It's super good. It's not super good. It just gives you an extra 3-inch movement, which is great strategy, especially with interceptors. So that's a list. Pretty basic Grey Knight list. If this is the kind of new meta of one Brotherhood, that's what you're going to be seeing a lot, is basically 3 Dreadknights, 30 interceptors, and then just mix a whole bunch of little stuff in between. So let's get into the pictures. So our first matchup, this was the terrain setup. Every single table was the same. So the last time I went to this store, it was very, very bad, very hectic, very unorganized. I kind of had to throw terrain on the tables to make it somewhat even. This complete opposite. Same store, but they brought a new person in to run it. And especially with a shark tank like this, you want to make sure that everything is consistent. So every single table looked like this. The first battle was, we played 2 new missions actually. So the first 2 missions were for the new packet to test out. This one has that little deployment that you can see right here. 5 objectives, kind of corner setup, and yeah, I like the setup. So this mission was basically you had to control objectives. I think you. All right, so the biggest thing that changed, I just remembered, is they took down the points for the primary, so it's now 4, 8, 12 instead of 5, 10, 15. And also there's another secondary that everybody always gets every single game. So I really like that because the points are a lot more equal instead of like one person just blowing the other person out of the primary and then the secondaries are like, eh. This one, they both have lower points in the primary, but everybody has an additional secondary. So you pick 3 secondaries and the mission secondary, both of you guys automatically have. That's what I like so much about this. These first 2 games were both really close with the points because of how many points you can get per turn. So it's cool. I really liked it. This one I think is if you control the center, you get 3 points. So yeah, it was good. So we both just fought in the middle the entire time. It was against a Blood Angels player, very cool player. He hasn't played, I think, in a while, just like me, other editions, but his army was painted so nice. He's a funny guy. He's like, he saw Grand Ants. He's like, well, fuck me. But he brought, crap, I forget their names, but he brought the guy with the wings, the main dude, from the Blood Angels. He brought an apothecary with the jump pack. He brought 3 units of these mask, Dante, 3 units of the mask guys, a unit of these jump guys, a lot of the lightning claws, and then he had a unit of just a basic 2 troop units that basically just held the back primaris, and then he had these death something, these guys. So they have the jump packs. They have a cool move where I don't know if he spends a strat, but on turn 1 he gets to move up 12 inches, like a full movement, and then his turn goes. So it's almost like a pre-game move of 12 inches. So he's able to basically charge me turn 1 from all the way across the table, which we'll go over how his turn 1 went. So this is kind of how we deployed. He deployed there, I deployed here. What he did turn 1 was he moved these guys, that's their pre-game move. These like 5 dudes who have the -3 damage against vehicles. They basically moved up 12 inches to here. And then they charged my Grandmaster, who was like right on the other side of this building. So I think I procced the 3++ to try and live turn 1, because if he kills my Grandmaster, it's such an uphill battle from there. But he charged. I lived. I think I took like 3 damage. I think I failed 1 of the wounds, and then I sweeped and killed all of them back, especially with my Hammer of Righteous. So I hit on 2s, wound on 2s, -2 damage. It was very bad for those guys. And then he brought everybody up. He tried to line of sight block with this terrain. If you walk up and touch this, then obviously you can see over, but you can't see through this terrain. It's basically rubble, so infantry can move through it, guys can jump over it. So he tried to block his guys as much as possible. He moved everybody up to right about there. I started with my Rhino right out front to try and block my Grandmaster. Didn't work as much. We had a bunch of interceptors. Crowe and a squad of interceptors was in this unit, and then we had a whole bunch of guys spread out back here. Now I'm going to say I didn't bring Foretelling of Locusts in this tournament. I wish I would have, to redeploy my units. I played very cagey this tournament, being wary of getting shot turn 1. So my Dreadknights are usually in the back with most of the setup. I wish I brought next tournament I'm bringing Foretelling of Locusts so I can redeploy my Dreadknights and put them either super far forward or redeploy them super far back if I don't go first. So that was basically his turn 1. My turn 2, we were able to get a bunch of the Dreadknights up. We put Empyric amplification onto the one unit in the middle, the guard unit, which have like a 2-up, 4-up with the storm shields. Like, they're really tanky, they hit really hard. These guys, I forget what they're called. Primaris Marine dudes. Blade Guard, I think everybody has them. So basically we just shot a bunch of them. These guys moved up. We took Ritual, so we basically were able to max out Ritual. We took Engage, which we were able, like, I teleported this Dreadknight literally all the way over here just to kind of like attack his units on the back deployment zone, because most of his guys moved up. These guys are controlling this zone. Rhino ran all the way up to here. So I was controlling most of the table. Most of his guys are in the middle or getting shot from all the Dreadknights. He lost this unit in 1 turn, the jump pack guys, and then he still had a whole bunch of guys moving up. I was able to charge Dante with a squad of interceptors, charge his apothecary right there, and this other flag guy. He had the flag banner dude. I charged all of them. He then spent 1 CP for his banner for me to attack the banner guy instead. I think that's Crowe. I think Crowe got to him because Crowe got out of the Rhino, moved up, and charged all these people. So Crowe died. He then was able to fight again. I was going to put everything into Dante to try and kill Dante. Dante lived with 2 wounds, but he spent 1 CP on the banner for me to fight the banner. I was like, oh my god, that was so close. But I had to kill the banner, so banner died. Crowe died, so Crowe's now gone after turn 1. So he's like a kamikaze artist. And then everything else lived right here. So his turn 2 basically just moved up a little bit more. This was kind of towards the end. We have Dreadknight with Hammerhand charging, finishing off this unit. This was when I had Empyric Amplification, which is just such a good spell for Grey Knights, doing so much damage to these guys. We killed Dante. We killed all these other people. He deep struck these guys over here to finish off this unit. The Dreadknight over here, finishing off this. I had my Grandmaster use his shun ability, so we actually his chaplain moved up to try and charge my Grandmaster, and when his chaplain shot my Grandmaster, I procced. See, I feel bad because like when it happens, you're like, I'm gonna shunt, and then you proc the Sigil of Exigence and you shun away, and he's like, it's like, I feel bad, but it's a tournament and it's a Shark Tank tournament, and you go over your whole list ahead of time. Sometimes you warn your guy like, hey, do you want to shoot him, yada yada. But then I procced it and I teleported him over here to kind of help out with this side of the Primaris Marines. So then he charged the other 2 Dreadknights, and they both just killed him. Like, I survived the 4-up invuln save, and then they both just kind of hit him back and killed him. So at this point in the game, it was very hard to come back from that and the shun and losing Dante and all that stuff. So by the final matchup, this is kind of the board. So we're all over the map. We basically have every objective. We have engage, and this was the final score. We had 111, which maxed out as 100 to 33. So engage, oath, and War of the Witch is what he took. We took Octarius, engage, and the Psychic Ritual. So with the new secondary, you're able to kind of max out a lot easier. All right. So now, if you guys have heard about this guy, Sascha, I have to look up his last name. Okay, Sascha edelkraut. If you guys have heard of him, I heard he was basically a celebrity without me knowing he was a celebrity in the 40k scene. Goes to a bunch of GTs all over the country. Yeah, first time meeting him, super nice guy. Has an accent. So he was just super fun to play. Again, I knew he was very good the way he described his list and went over his list, and this was his list. Super beautifully painted as well. I think it's an Iron Hands, but he played it as Black Templar. So luckily, I play Black Templar all the frickin' time. So if you watch any of my videos on the channel, most of them are against Black Templar because Brian is very good at Black Templar, Craig is very good at Black Templar, and we play them almost every single week. So let's get into it. So Sascha was super fun to play and very competitive. Usually he wins all the time. So when I told my guys in Discord and the Cuddle Buddies that I beat Sascha, everyone was like, no way you beat Sascha. I was like, yeah, he's a Black Templar player. He's like, yeah, but he wins all the time. I'm like, all right, cool, that's awesome. So that boosted me up a little bit, so that was fun. But Sascha, this is what he brought, which most people usually bring. 2 Contemptor Dreads. I think actually this was a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing, because he had Jump Pack Lightning Claws. He had Thunderhammer Storm Shields. He brought a unit of these multi-melta guys that came in from reserves. He had obviously the guard, Blade Guard people with the shields. And then he had the main dude from Black Templars. He brought a Apothecary, Primaris Apothecary. He brought a Chaplain on a bike, which is, I think, this one. He didn't bring the Deny the Witch, which I told him after this battle, which Deny the Witch is so good against Grey Knights. He failed the 4+ Deny twice, which kind of turned the battle for me. He had a unit of the guys that start 9-inch up at the table, which this mission, I'll go over it, was very good with Black Templar. Like, you were going to love these new missions. He had a bigger unit, I think 11 or 12 guys with these basic Marines. Again, Thunderhammer Storm Shield, Lightning Claws, like not what I'm used to seeing. But let's go over how it went. So turn 1, he had turn 1. So he had turn 1. Did he have turn 1? I think, yes, of course he had turn 1, because I was able to get to him on my turn 1. Okay. So this was the setup. This was the new mission on mission 2. It's a lot of 6 objectives. Now what is crazy about this one is you don't get a CP unless you control one of the center objectives or the objective in your opponent's territory. So you get 2 CP, which is cool. You get an additional CP if you can control this one and one of them in no man's land. But what's great about the Black Templar is they have the 3-inch move before the game, where you can move up 3 inches, get on the objective, because you can't start on the objective, but you get on the objective, and then in your command phase you get a CP. So it was cool. Luckily I started with 10 CP in this tournament, so I didn't have to worry about it at least turn 1, but he was able to get that 1 because he moved up 3 inches to get in front of everybody. So his whole army moved up 3 inches and then moved up further, so they moved really fast on turn 1. This is where they were deployment. I deployed over here. He deployed over there. I stayed out of line of sight of most things. If you wanted to move up his dreads to try and get line of sight on my Grandmaster, I could have shunted over here and it would have messed them up a little bit, so he didn't want to do that. Started in Tides of Shadows. So this was after my turn 1. So what we did, he moved up his Blade Guard out of the building behind here. He had a unit of regular dudes in the back here controlling this backed objective. He had a string of units, so he didn't want me to teleport in these corners, which I couldn't do. So that was good on his play, and his Contemptors moved up a little bit. Now if you see here, he had the Chaplain and Apothecary right here out front, and they were within the 3-inch of these guys. But on my turn, I shunted my Grandmaster up to here. I had line of sight to his 12 inches of his dude, and I casted Empyric Amplification on it, which is +1 damage to Nemesis and side weapons. He used his 1 CP to try deny. He rolled a 3. He didn't deny it. So I was able to just kill it with 1.5, 2.5 Dreadknights. And he told me afterwards he wasn't sure, he wasn't aware that Dreadknights can kill Redemptors that easily. And me only going after Redemptors as soon as possible, especially against Brian, because he runs freaking 3 of them. That's basically all my game plan is just kill the Redemptors as soon as possible and then deal with all the little infantry later on. So, also, once I killed that Redemptor, his dude, his chaplain, who was right here next to 3 inches of that dude, the thing, I couldn't shoot him because of that, of the 3-inch lookout, sir. But my dudes who got out 15 inches from my my rhino, who was against this wall, guys, dude, 15 inches is so much further than 12 inches. So what I did was I put the rhino as far forward against the wall as I possibly could. Now when they get out 3 inches, the jump infantry, the jump infantry. So they get out 3 inches and then they move 12. So basically 15 inches from that rhino put me like right where that dice is. Like right there, which was only like a 7-inch charge to their apothecary, which was sitting right next to this dreadnought, like right there. So the chaplain, who once the dreadnought, I'm pointing, I don't know why I'm pointing, the dreadnought died, I was able to shoot the chaplain because he wasn't within the 3-inch rule anymore. So I basically shot the chaplain like a crap ton of times with this Dreadknight back here and my Grandmaster, and killed the chaplain. And then my guys used the +1 attack to charge, and I spent a CP to roll exploding 6s and just annihilated the apothecary. So on turn 1, guys, he lost a Contemptor Dread, apothecary, and his chaplain, all in turn 1. So going back at the end, he's like, yeah, the apothecary should never be that far forward. And I was like, yeah, I know, ask Craig. Craig did the same exact thing, so that was pretty funny. Anytime I see that apothecary, especially against Black Templar, they have a 0 CP strat that they can bring back the Lord of Feast or some really good character to the unit. So I have to kill him as soon as possible. So that's kind of like my aim for every time I face Black Templars, where the hell is their apothecary? So that was my thing. Then he basically walked out, killed these guys, shot up a bunch of my Dreadknights. These guys walked out. These guys are here, so these guys lived, but these guys moved up and wanted to try and kill my Grandmaster. He brought in, let me see if I can get to the next thing. All right, this is towards the end. So he brought in his reserve melty guys over here, and he was able to get a bunch of shots onto my Dreadknights, because multi-meltas love shooting Dreadknights. So by the end of this turn, he was able to get basically this entire side of the board over to my side of the board and killed almost everybody on this side of the battle. He got into this basically table quarter, and he was in that building. Now, after this turn, he ran almost everybody, and he left his Grandmaster, I forget his name, right here, which wasn't good because I still had another infantry unit in that rhino, which they then got out 15 inches. And I did the same thing as I did to the apothecary, is I literally got out, casted my +1 attack, charged their Grandmaster, and then I used 1 CP to get exploding 6s and just killed his Grandmaster. So by turn 2, his main Grandmaster died without doing too much stuff to my Dreadknights. So then after that, Dreadknights then charged and killed a bunch more of these guys. They, again, killed everything on that side of the table. By the end of the game, I had these 2 Dreadknights left. He killed this 1 Dreadknight. I had my Grandmaster left, finishing off this Blade Guard. He used the 1 CP strat almost the whole game. I needed Force the Wound. So I brought Hammer of Righteous with my Grandmaster, but against Marines, he has the I need 4s to wound him instead. So instead of wounding on 2s, I wounded on 4s, which kind of sucked, but I was able to put Empyric Amplification again onto this unit at the very end and finish him off in melee. But at the end of the game, this is all that was left. So we had, like I said, these 2 were kind of finishing off these squads in the buildings. I had these guys deep strike over here and then charge these units. And that was left. So we basically tabled him at the very end besides this 1 guy, which was the melted guys. So we maxed out, I believe, on everything, and the Rhino's still alive. We maxed out on almost everything, and the Grandmaster didn't really take any damage. I think he lived like full wound the entire time, which was very surprising. I was very more conservative this tournament with my Grandmaster. That was the kill pile, and this was the final score. So I had 97, he had 59. Yeah, and he kept scoring the whole. So this primary is if you get one point for every unit that you kill, which was pretty cool. So you want to match that with grind. Like you can get grind and then try and kill 3+ units. You get 6 points each game. I took engage. I took warp ritual and I don't know what that says. Something else. Rod, Octarius, maybe Octarius. I forget. But yeah, it was a very, very good game. Very good player. We both learned a lot. He learned a lot by playing Grey Knights, and he basically, like, I told him about like what Grey Knights don't like to see, which is denies. Like if you can just automatically deny our Empyric amplification, I don't know if I can kill Redemptor Dreads. It's just so freaking hard. My strength 8 or strength 9, 2 damage side cannons go down to 1 damage. So it literally, I need a lot of shots to kill it. So that was the final table. Again, very good player, very good match. And then this game, which we're going to have super fun talking about. Oh, and I want to give a shout out to Jason, who ran an awesome RTT. Again, Shark Tank. But he's a part of the Dumpster Fire team, which they are very good. So hopefully they're coming out to AU next tournament. I think a bunch of them signed up on the 15th of January. So that we're basically turning almost every meta store around us into a very competitive 40k meta, which is cool, but also we need to bring new guys in too. But who knows? It's going to be super fun. So that's coming up on the 15th, but I appreciate running a good event. He was the other Grey Knight player at the tournament, which was a little bit different. He ran Paladins, which is always fun. So what do we got? This is the normal mission. So we do the 9-inch deployment. From this, we played clowns. We played clowns with Eldar. He had a mix of both. All right, so let's go over this one. We played Erick, really nice guy. We exchanged numbers. Hopefully we get another game in soon. He plays it's called Eldari. It's basically clowns and Eldar mixed together. Really good player. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the scariest matches I've ever played. With the amount of stratagems and stuff that the clowns have that I've never seen before. I've seen bikes, and usually if you put bikes out and you're facing Grey Knights and they just shoot you and then they die, you don't really know what they do. But he had 5 bikes that stayed behind the building the entire freaking game until I brought my Dreadknight out, and then gone. I was like, what the hell is this shit? So yeah, let's go over his list. Let me see if I can remember it. So Erick brought 2 of these tanks from Eldar in the back. They ignore line of sight. They basically just kill Marines. They're very good at it. 2 damage apiece. No line of sight. It's just very good. So he had a unit of, and it sucks I didn't take as many pictures. Like later in the day, I just take less and less pictures, so I apologize for that. But he brought a unit of the Eldar regular troop guys that shoot really good with their guns. He had like a small unit of them, which he started like right here, so I couldn't shunt turn 1. He's very good at placement. Like he's very good at line of sight, placement, putting the guys exactly where he wanted to be, an inch away from the building, so I couldn't really get into the buildings. So that's kind of what stopped me most of the games. I couldn't get to him. And then you just hop out, shoot me, and then just hop away. Or hop out, charge me, hop out, hop back in his objective, hop back in his bike, run away. Like, just shit everywhere. It was insane. So we played the objectives where I took Stranglehold for the first time. No, Stranglehold was yesterday. I took the middle objective, which if you control it, you get 3 points. I took... I don't know if I took Octarius this one. Honestly, this match was like so mentally, holy shit, what the hell's going on? Which I'll just go at the end and see what. I know I definitely took Psychic Ritual. But he did have a deny. So let's go over his list. So he had the 2 of the tanks. He had the unit of the shooty guys. He had this sniper dude. He had the 1 Eldar Psyker on the bike. And then he had the 1 other Harlequin chick who, if you shoot, everything you shoot within 6 inches of her is -6 range, which is really freaking good against Dreadknights. Like very good. So basically everything I shot, I couldn't get in range. Unless I got out of Ties of Shadows, which I didn't want to get out of Ties of Shadows. So he also had 3 or 4 of these transport bikes, or transports with the guns on top. He had a unit of 5 bikes with the haywire grenades, which were really good. He had a unit of these melee chicks. I think he had 2 of those guys. He had 2 or 3 basic units. He had a unit of these wing Eldar dudes for Octarius. And he had this melee dude from the Clowns. So that was his list. It had a lot of like stratagems and all that stuff in it, so I'm sure it's a lot more in depth than what I'm going over right now. But if you guys can guess the rest, that's basically what he brought. It was just super fast. He basically kept all of his guys right behind this wall, which I couldn't get to him, which kind of sucked. I couldn't contest this. I couldn't get to him. I couldn't charge him. He basically would walk out and then charge my units over here and keep contesting this. He had the 1 chick, which you can spend 1 or 2 CP, and during his command phase, teleport 13 inches, which he did on my objective, which stopped me from getting 3 points 1 turn, which was very clutch. I didn't kill this unit, which I should have. I just rolled really shitty, and I didn't use the stratagem, which I should have used the stratagem. So this unit survived. He was able to move 1 of the dudes this way and then get onto the objective, which he was core. I didn't have any core over here. I thought core in the Rhino, which I'm thinking like an old edition, was in the Rhino on the objective, counted as core. Didn't work that way, so that's not true. So I found that out during that game, is if you have guys in the Rhino, they don't count for shit. Which is good to know. So he basically held that objective, stole that from me the 1 turn. So he played very, 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 very good. He's like one of the top 2 players on the Dumpster Fire team, which I think I played 2 Dumpster Fire people, and then the 1 Blood Angel person, who Joe Shoemaker, which I've heard of him before. I didn't know what he looked like, but he's a very funny guy. So yeah, so this basically wound up being only till turn 3, and all that was because of my doing. Eric played a great game. I didn't intentionally slow play. I just didn't know anything about him. Like, I didn't know all the stratagems he was using. I didn't know what to do. I basically took a lot of time thinking about what the fuck I was going to do. My first turn was dumb. I kept all my Dreadknights back here, and this is what I was saying in the beginning. Foretelling of the Locust is key, because I went first and I didn't have anything to shoot. I literally, turn 1, I kept all my guys back as far as they possibly could because I was afraid of his army. Which he told me at the end, you should literally just run at me, and next time we play, I'm just going to run at him. So I would have redeployed all 3 of my Dreadknights up and basically moved up and just try to get line of sight on the bikes and maybe shot some bikes turn 1. But it didn't. So that was my mistake, is I got first turn and I played like a little baby. So that's one thing I would change. And the second thing I would change is not play so slow. So we had to guess the last 2 turns out, which we both said it just wasn't enjoyable. Getting to the final table and trying to guess what would happen. Like, there's so much dice rolling that we would have had to do to figure out which way this was going to go. So the whole game, we went to turn 3. At the end of turn 3, this is basically what we had. So this was basically me trying to like control and get to all the objectives. Same with him. He had so much more movement than I did. Basically tank stayed at the back, kept shooting my guys off the objective, which was really good. Crowe died. This is where Crowe died. So he brought his 1 guy up out of the thing. He was closest to Crowe, so he was able to shoot Crowe. And his Melta fusion pistol, Crowe got down to 1 wound. I had my reroll, and I couldn't roll 4, and then I re-rolled, and I couldn't roll 4 for him to live. So if Crowe would have lived, I probably would have killed this chick, because he knew that Crowe needed to die in shooting, which he did. If he dies in melee, he's able to fight again. So if Crowe would have lived, I would definitely help kill this guy. But by the end of it, he killed Crowe with the shots. Then this chick killed this unit, and he went back into the transport. Transport then moved into the building, which I couldn't, see it. And this Dreadknight got this objective. This other Dreadknight shunted over here, lived with 1 wound left, which he probably could have killed it with this tank with the extra shots. Again, we don't know. But if this is the end of the game, this is all we have left. This is the end of the game. So we have my Dreadknight, which was here with right there. This is what would have played out. We had 2 more turns to go. What I would have done was move my Dreadknight where it is there, shot the transport, hopefully kill it, and then charge whatever was inside. So that would have been 1. Grandmaster has the make anybody within 6 inches obsec, so he would have went this way. So he would have moved up 9. These guys would have hopped into here, try to charge his character chick. There's 2 transports back here. The Rhino would have just ran around. This Dreadknight would have walked where he is, and then shot and killed hopefully the transport, which they had guys in there. And then there was 2 bikes left. I shot the bikes earlier, but there's the other Dreadknight who had, I guess, 3 wounds on him. He would have shot and did something here and charged, because his weapon skill doesn't change in charging. So at least he would have charged hopefully the bikes and killed the bikes. And then we had these guys kind of back here just chilling. He deep striked these guys for rotting or Octarius, and these two things were completely fine. So really it comes down to, can this guy, he had Stranglehold, that's what he had. So can this guy kill the thing and charge and finish off this unit by himself? And also, could the Grandmaster do enough? He probably would have shot these tanks, did some damage, or potentially get line of sight. Yeah, so he probably would have moved up 9, left the center objective. The Rhino would have ran over to the center objective just to sit there and get at least 3 points. So he would have moved up 9. Next turn, moved up 9 and either charged whatever's left in here, or charged one of these tanks and killed the tanks. So basically it would have come down to turn 5, and we added up the points, and he beat me by I think like 10 to 20 points, like whatever it may be, because we were guessing. So he was like 10 points here, 15 points for primary, and my ritual, I would have just ignored the ritual, like fuck the ritual. If I can stop you from getting 15 points on primary both turns, and Stranglehold stop you from getting that, it would have been a different game. But again, I gave him the win because it was completely my fault. I played way too slow. Literally everybody wanted to leave. Like, we were the last ones playing, and I felt so bad. I was like, Eric, you got it. Like, you beat me. Let's get another game in so we can test this out. I'm going to change up the list a little bit just so I can get Foretelling of the Locust in there so I can redeploy the units. But yeah, it was a very good game, very good player. Congrats, he won $100 for coming in first. Nolan, who is the thick Dark Eldar player, he not him, but his army, he runs the all the thick units, the really popular Dark Eldar list. So I get to play that on Monday coming up. So hopefully I want to stream it, but we got to get up to 1,000 subs. And then I came in third. I went 2 wins, 1 loss against Erick. And yeah, it was a really cool tournament. Great, showing, good competition, good terrain layout, good missions. I can't wait for the new missions to come out. And then we have what's coming up. I got 2 battle reports to post. I'm gonna make another one on Monday. And then we have the tournament on the 15th of January. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. I keep testing out this list because I want one Brotherhood to work out in case that, we lose the 2 Brotherhoods. But honestly, I like the Interceptors. My new list I'm going to be testing out. Let me see if I can post. I'll post this list in the comments or in the little section. But my new list is pretty simple. It's going to be Prescient. So you get the 1 CP every turn, hopefully. But it's a Tech Marine with the auto heal 3. The Divination, so we can cast the power. The Grandmaster, same exact way. The Tech Marine is going to bring the Foretelling of the Locust. 3 strike squads, 3 full interceptor squads, and 3 Dreadknights. So the difference is I have 60 points left. Question to you, do I bring 2 Servitor units? Do I take away the teleporters from my 2 Dreadknights and add another Tech Marine to get 2 Tech Marines? Or do I take away the 2 shunt from my Dreadknights and add a Rhino because the Rhino definitely played well into both of these games. It got that extra 3 inches. They just charged forever. It was awesome, and it protected them. So the Rhino is pretty cool. I do like the Rhino. So that's the question. And I also did try out my last game on Monday against John, the Assassin, the Calidus Assassin that gives you the CP. If you spend 1, I can roll 4 up and you spend another one. That's cool. It makes your opponent think, do I want to spend this? Do I want to reroll? Do I want to do whatever? It's very strategic. I tried that. So I took out a 5-man unit of interceptors. So it was a 10-10-5. That gave me the Calidus Assassin. And it also kept me the Rhino. So basically it was the Tech Marine, Dreadknight, everything else the same. Got me the Rhino and got me the Calidus Assassin. That was the other list that we're going to be testing out. So there's 3 lists that I really want to test out. This one has the Foretelling of the Locust, and the one last night had the Foretelling of the Locust, which I definitely think is so worth it every single time. Just that redeploy 3 units. Even if you don't use it, like let's say you do go first, you can at least move 1 or 2 units up further to go, get into the right spots that you really want to go, or you can just spread your guys out for deep strikes. That's also a good thing. Having this many infantry unit, it definitely helps with deep strike and defense, which I've been noticing the last couple missions or games that I've been playing. So I definitely like it. So guys, again, I appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Definitely a Shark Tank. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing these videos if you guys keep liking them and enjoying them. But this was I was 4 for 4 in tournaments. This was the last one we lost, which I deserve it because I played so slow the last game. But I found out, not to boast, but I was number 7 before this tournament. I think I was 7 before. All right, so ITC rankings, again, I didn't know anything about these before this year, but I go to a lot of tournaments, and I'm number 19 in the world for Grey Knights at 630 points. Who's number 1? Matthew Dugan, Roger Bora, and Andrew Bourbon are top 3. But I'm number 19 in the world. And then USA, number 9. So I'm number 9 in USA for Grey Knights. Awesome. I don't know what the hell that means. Probably doesn't mean anything. I don't get literally anything for being there. But it's cool to say. So guys, I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed competition and tournaments. But shout out to One Last Blade. Let's get a freaking talk show going. I definitely want to ask you some questions. I know you're kind of out of the tournament scene, but it's just cool to talk to another YouTuber Grey Knight. And Noobhammer, let's go. Get some shout outs going out. So appreciate it, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon.